All right. That'd be good. Hey folks, let me know if you can or can't hear me. Loud and clear. Okay, very good. So, I guess I'll start. I've already began the binding here because I've never done this particular binding before and I wanted to make sure that I knew what I was doing. So I've bound the last 3 days. I'm starting from the back of the book. And oh, let me zoom you in so you can better see. This way. And I'm upside down, aren't I? That figures. You know what? I can do this upside down. Instead of moving the camera. Is that better for everybody? I didn't even think about it. When I do my recordings, everything comes in upside down, and so I fix it when I edit the video, but I didn't think about it this time when I started the live stream. So, here we go. So, I started with the back of the book. I was thinking that I would do a Japanese style binding, but I quickly realized that if I were to do that, then it would smush the pages and I would have to create a bend in them. So, you're okay with upside down. That's how this day has felt for me. Everything has just been off. Anyway, so, yeah, so I found this binding method. It's a single sheet binding method. It bends, like the bend point is at the knot. And so I thought this would be better for this, so that I'm not bending each piece. So I'll show you sort of like, we'll go back. So it's day 30. Miss Mary had decided that she preferred the red platinum plaisir that came with the last ink vent, and I really preferred the green teal one, and so we traded. And when we traded, she had also included a couple of ink samples in there, which was really sweet of her. So this was one of the samples, and it was really exciting to see that that was one of the ones that I picked, and as the last day. So it was kind of neat. And so I know I promised I wouldn't do landscapes. I couldn't help myself. I just had to. I did find that this month was a lot more challenging to think of new things to do every day than September was, because every day I would go into September and it would just be, just do a landscape, just do a landscape. And then this month it was just like, do a shape. Well, that proved to be more difficult for me than I thought it would. Day 29 was Esterbrook Tangerine. Has a little bit of pink in it, and so that was sort of easy. Just draw a tangerine, right? But it's a really pretty orange. The day before was Colorverse Alpha Pisces, I guess. And I really loved how the chromatography came out on this one, because it just reminded me of a waterfall. Which way am I going? Everything is backwards and upside down. Okay. And I thought that was really cool. I'm not sure how I managed that in the chromatography, but I was like, ooh, it reminds me of Yellowstone. And this one I was actually pretty happy with how it came out. So let's move on to day 27. The interesting thing about this binding method is that each thing is on its own needle, and because there's so many days, my string is very long and prone to tangling. So I'm trying to keep everything straight and untangled by each needle has its own place on the desk. So day 27 was the Tacha Benizakura, and I've put it in tracing paper. All of the ones that have sheen or shimmer are going into tracing paper, just because in my last book, which is here in my last book, you may remember, some of the shimmer would come off on the day before, some of the sheen would go off on the day before or after, so it's just sort of like a way of protecting the prior piece. So let's go ahead and stick this on here. Oh, this was the one that I used the liquid Frisket with, which is this stuff here. Drawing gum, I guess, is also called. This stuff has a pretty big funk to it. So if you're interested in using it, just be aware of that. Use it in sort of like a well-ventilated area, because it gets pretty stinky. And then to take it off the paper after it dries and after you're done with your piece, you just sort of use an eraser, which can be tricky with ink because it'll just smear, which is sort of what happened here. And I could have gone in with bleach water and sort of cleaned that up, but I kind of like having mistakes. It reminds me of what not to do later. So most of my needles, well, 2 out of 3 needles are curved needles. This one is a straight needle because I didn't have another curved needle, but ideally it would be curved needles. So I'm just going to take this, and I've pre-punched my holes. So through the drawing paper, I'm just going to send my needle through. Pray for no knots. And then which direction am I going in? Everything's upside down. The stone gray one, Dash? Which one? Because I think there were 2 or 3 of the Graf von Faber-Castell. And tear it? No, I wouldn't want to tear it. I would just cut it out. So now I'm just going to go under the last stitch and pull it back out. So now it's attached. Then move on to the second one. The stone gray one, of course. The last day. Yeah, I liked that one. Yeah, your last video you sounded a lot better, Sarah. So this is going to be real repetitive, y'all. So I'm going under the day before. I don't know how well you can see that. Maybe if I move my hand out of the way, the camera will focus. It's under the day before. Okay, so I did look into, I have an Etsy shop for something completely unrelated to fountain pens and ink and things like that. And so I looked into like a printer that had Etsy integration. And it seems like there are a lot of problems with that. So I don't know. I did look into it, but I'm exploring it. She is. I think she's a space girl, so it could be anything with space or what, tea, and she'd be into that. But yeah, I did look into finding somebody that would do greeting cards, and it may just be that I have to print them myself and then put each one up on like an Etsy shop. And then I thought about Zazzle, because that's pretty easy with Zazzle, but then you don't really know what kind of quality card you're getting. So I have to order cards from Zazzle to see what they're like, because I don't want to order crappy cards because everybody that watches my stuff are fountain pen people. And so I want paper that can be used with a fountain pen to be used on the cards. So, I don't know, it's a whole thing. Sorry, not sorry. Okay, day 26, Harry Potter Grappa Thestral. I liked this one for a black. It was nice. I don't know how much I like the actual piece. Shutterfly print photos. So, did they... So did you glue the photos to, like, cards? Is that how you did it? I've not tried Supernova or Crab Nebula. You glued them to the cards. Okay. I think that makes sense with photographs. I wonder how well that would look with scanned images. I spent all day a couple of days ago just like scanning. Paper was thin. Thin paper isn't necessarily a problem. It's if it's like junk copy paper quality that you really kind of don't want. I feel like a greeting card should have nice paper. Hi, Miss Turtle. How are you? Welcome. Welcome to the binding. Ooh, day 25. Somebody let me know if I do these out of order, because I'm only half paying attention. I didn't really like this one. I felt like most other of the Graf von Faber-Castell inks had like really nice chromatography and different colors in them. This one seems sort of flat to me. The binding sounds like a movie that would not be in mainstream. Is that... what is that movie? Kind of sounds like a Korean horror film. One of them is an upholstery needle, and one of them is a legitimate, quote-unquote, legitimate bookbinding needle. This would be difficult to do the inside binding with a straight needle. Not a real movie. Sounds a little kinky. Orders for the week. Yeah, that's been my day. Chaos has been my day today. I've been doing some long intermittent fasting this week. So around like 18, 19-hour days. So I was feeling great this morning. I hit like the 19-hour mark, and then I ate about an hour before I started the live stream today. And now I have like this blood sugar issue, and I feel really shaky. It's very bizarre. Like I felt fine before I ate. These Tatcha inks are so pretty. They're so pretty. And I don't know what possessed me to do this like this. I was just like, oh, I'll do flowers. It'll be great. And then it came out like that. And that is not what I wanted for it at all. But sometimes it's just the way it is, you know. Sometimes it doesn't come out the way you want, and I don't really hide what happens with the things I do. It's just that's what happened. But it's all experimentation anyway. Some of the benefit of knowing that, like, you're doing something like landscapes. Oh, now I've got a knot. Doing the same thing every day is that it really allows you to sort of explore more. When you don't have a plan, things go crazy. So I think next time I do this, I'm probably going to do something very similar where I have just like, I cut cards like this and then bind it later. But I'm going to be more specific with how I'm going to explore the ink. Why do I keep getting knots? Because my blood sugar is low? This is crazy. Oh no. Oh no. Oh, I see you. Really? Your teeth chatter? Why is that? Explain the science behind that. Why does that happen? Like I felt like I came out of the fast okay. I mean, it's not like 19 hours is not like an extraordinarily long fast. Let me just cut this. That's not going to work. And then, like, I had some pickles, which, you know, fermented food is good, right? Oh no, this is just not great. You just know not to do it anymore. Well, that's not helpful. I'm trying to be less fat, and part of that is not eating so much and allowing my body to sort of, you know, fix itself. Okay. We made it. We untangled ourselves. One small victory for the day. And then we retangled. Y'all, this is a problem. Okay. We're good. We're bound. Good. No. I'm not fasting for long periods of time. It's less than 24 hours. And this is the first day that I've sort of felt this way. I've been doing it for about a week. Okay. Well, that was a fiasco. Day 23. Guys, this is going to be a long stream. Stipula, bright green. I kind of like this one. It had lots of blues in it. The blues were fun. You all know how I feel about Stipula ink. I'm not overly fond of it. Hi, Marcia. How you doing? We're just sort of reviewing and binding here. Challenge. You always have a good way to spin it. Yeah, mentally I feel pretty good. I'm just a little bit shaky. This is going to be a problem. So far, so good. Good. It's a comedy of errors here today. So I made the mistake of touching the Tatcha Benazakura, and so now I have red ink all along my string here. I had to like use bleach water to wipe down the desk. It was everywhere. It's a mess. Oh, I didn't know that you were a consultant. Well, good. Now I know why you're such a bad influence on all of us. Yeah, that's what I'm doing, like a 16/8, but sometimes that's the goal, 16/8, but I've been going over, not necessarily on purpose, but just that's the way my days are going. Yeah, you know who inspired me is Inky Rocks. Is her name Elisa? I think her name is Elisa. She had recently put up a video where she fasted for 2 weeks straight, and I was just like, holy cow, you can live off of that? Just like you can survive that. And so we decided, my husband and I decided to do like 1 meal a day. But it's really sort of like snacking, but in that window. Do you do that regularly, Dash? Like every single day? Every day. Is that something that you chose to do as like a health thing, or is that something that you grew up doing? Like that's like your normal, like you've always done it that way? Miss Turtle, you're hilarious. Wow, are we already up to day 12? No. Oh, day 21. Everything is backwards. Okay. So this is another one that I put in tracing paper because it's got such a heavy sheet on it. Some juice. This is the Troublemaker. I guess it's pronounced Lamong? Lamong? I don't know. But yeah, you can see I have to take some bleach water and sort of clean this up because I've smeared it. So that's the whole reasoning for the tracing paper. Some juice. Wouldn't juice break the fast though? So basically what I'm doing is I'm just eating in my eating window, and then which direction was I going? I go this way. Eating in my eating window and then having nothing but water, and then the next morning having coffee. That one was challenging. Yeah, I wasn't really sure how I felt about this one. This one was like really simple to do. But I think it came out well too. It does remind me of space as well. Just sort of like a halo of light around like a planet. So what are you guys doing today? Everyone slacking off at work? Oh yeah, you have to have stars in the background, right? So one thing I've noticed is that doing the little bleach splatters, it works really nice if you have sort of a light a light layer of ink, but if you have like a heavily sheening ink, bleach does not penetrate through the sheen. So you really have to apply it heavily if you want to keep it. Let's see how this is working here. Hey, that's pretty good. Not exactly what I would call a lay flat because it has some layering of the thing, of the string, but not bad. And then you can sort of peel back the... Okay, that's gonna work. Working. What are you studying in school, Dash? By the way, I love this one. Haha. I have to buy myself a bottle because it's so pretty. It's just a happy, happy color. Economics and statistics. Interesting. You must really enjoy math. I liked math as a subject. It made sense. There were rules to it, you know. It wasn't necessarily memorizing dates and stuff. History is interesting, but math appealed to me. And then I went to art school. A lot of fun. Petrichor. I was so weirded out that I picked from the bag 3 of these like dual shading inks, like all back to back. I don't even know how that happened. And then on Black Friday came a black ink. It was very bizarre. The picking of the ink this month was just so perfect. A toothbrush. Oh, to splatter the bleach? That makes sense. I've tried doing that with a paintbrush, and I end up getting more bleach on myself than I do on the paper. This one I felt was very underwatery. Where's my needle? Here it is. Have any of you ever done any bookbinding before? Ink Studio 162. it's pretty fun, and I just if you're interested in like learning more about bookbinding, I really like Sea Lemon's channel. Sea Lemon, S-E-A, Lemon. And she just released a video this morning where in the binding she wrote out a word. So she had a binding, she had a book. It was really cute. It had like flowers and whatnot on it. And then in the binding she used like a Coptic stitching method and sewed in the word grow. I'm like, oh my god, that's like the perfect idea if you want to like gift somebody like a hand-done sketchbook or, you know, like a watercolor book or whatever. You can just like stitch in their name in the binding. That's like such a great idea for gift giving. Oh no, gremlins! Yes, Sea Lemon does a lot of great bookbinding tutorials. I really recommend her channel. Yeah. Have a good one, Sarah. I'll talk to you later, girl. Your one COVID hobby. Yeah, so I say if you're interested in bookbinding, and maybe like doing more than one, We Are Memory Keepers has a hole punch that makes the whole process really easy. But of course you don't need it. Bye! How do you do it? Bye! So what is it? Oh, We Are Memory Keepers has like a bookbinding punch, which makes it easy to get all of your signatures or your pages all punched exactly the same. So I will say that's sort of nice, but obviously you don't need it. You do need an awl, because you don't want to be like, you don't want to use like a needle to try to like punch through thick paper. You're going to hurt yourself. That's like needles like this are really helpful. It's not necessary if you have sewing needles. You could use sewing needles like this. I think is probably a pretty standard sewing needle, or maybe I got this out of like my cross stitch stuff. You just want to make sure that the eye is like large enough for the thread, and then you know if you don't have waxed thread, you could always use beeswax to wax it yourself. It's not a very expensive hobby. The covers I made are just cardboard, and then I have from my time where I used to do some scrapbooking, back when scrapbooking was big, I have just some like nice paper that I wrapped around it and glued it down. PVA glue, I believe, is what's recommended. So yeah, if you're interested in doing it, it's not particularly expensive to get into, although it can be if you stick with it and want to get all of like the tools that'll make your life easier, but not necessary. Oh, this was Colorverse Alpha Boo. And then this one, I think this one is probably my favorite out of all of them. I just really like the colors that came out of this one. Famous last words. Look, it's not an expensive hobby. It doesn't have to be an expensive hobby is what I mean to say. Like, you don't need to buy expensive things to make this happen. It's cheaper than the fountain pen hobby. How about that? It's probably also cheaper than knitting. Nope. So yeah, I just go into the, I'm not even paying attention to what the camera's looking at. I just go into the underneath the page prior. Everything is cheaper than knitting. I don't know, fountain pen hobby is pretty expensive. Ooh, I prefer that too, Dash. That is my thing. Like, I much prefer the inks than the fountain pens. Ink is more fun. And less expensive. When do you graduate, Dash? Is that anytime soon? Because I'm waiting for you to do your sample business. I'm waiting for you to get that started. Ow, 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 ow. Cat attack. What happened here? Okay. Taco found that I was using string and wanted to attack me. Don't do it, buddy. Where am I at? There we are. Okay, day 15. The Pelican Golden Barrel. I don't know what this was. Like, I don't know. I'm not really sure like what I was envisioning happening for this. But that's what it is. Oh, this is an interesting binding technique because it's so bulky with the strings between each page. This might be something that's better for less pages. I don't know. But now I'm not so sure that there's a binding technique that would be good for this sort of thing. Maybe I should have done this in 2 volumes. Sunspots! There's many things to do. What's it? Okay. Cartridges can be expensive if you look at it by like how much the price per milliliter that you're getting. It's expensive in that aspect, obviously, because you know, if you buy a bottle, it's like buying in bulk, basically. Yeah, that makes more sense to refill them. When I first started, I bought some cartridges because I wanted to test some ink, and buying cartridges is, in fact, cheaper than buying bottles of ink. And so instead of, or even sometimes samples. So instead of buying a sample or a bottle, I would buy a cartridge, and then I would just dump all of the cartridges that I bought into a sample bottle. That way I can use as much or as little as I want. And I found that to be pretty convenient. Okay, I'm trying to be really careful not to sew in threads from other needles into the one that I'm doing. Somebody yell at me and tell me that I'm doing that if it happens. We're halfway there, folks. This is going by faster than I thought it would. I'm glad I did start before before we started, though. That took a while to do. This is probably my second favorite one. This is the Diamine by Colt Pens Christine, and it's got a lot of sheen on it, but it has a really pretty base color. And then maybe if I get it on camera, that would be good. But I sort of like how this one came out. Originally I had wanted clean lines, and then the ink sort of like seeped under the ruler, and then I just went, alright, we're going with that, because it looked kind of cool, so I'm just like, alright. Sometimes there are happy mistakes. Most of the time not, but sometimes it happens. Yeah, I did that cartridge thing before I had a syringe. It was tricky. I need to use, or I need to try more of the Diamine by Colt Pens inks, because they seem really nice. Back to work? Ugh, lame. Thanks for stopping by. I appreciate you hanging out with me. I'll talk to you later, and have a good day at work. Wow, day 13 already. Okay, day 13, Sailor Ink Studio 237. This was really pretty. I liked sort of this mint and yellow color that was in the chromatography. And it looks like if I would have like laid down a little bit more, I probably could have gotten some sheen on this paper. So maybe I can get some sheen with like some Tomoe River paper. But yeah, I like this color. It's very pretty. Does anybody have any big weekend plans? I think I'm finally gonna put up Christmas lights. It gets so dark so early in the day. By like 5:30 it's pitch black outside here. And so it's nice to have like the Christmas lights on the porch, because then, you know, you can see when you go home. Day 12, Esther Brooks Scarlet. Lots of orange, a little bit of pink. I think, Marcia, were you the one that said that this one reminded you of Le Petit Prince and his planet? Sort of reminds me of that too. I love that book so much. Makes me cry. Hey, hey, tattooed cat. Nice to see ya. Day 11. Stipula light blue. Okay, this one I liked how it came out. You know, like Stipula inks tend to be pretty flat, except for Saffron, I think, is like my favorite of their inks. Flat in that there's not a lot of anything going on in the chromatography. But I just like how this one came out. It's very clean looking, it's bright, it's sort of cheerful. Kind of reminds me of staring at the clouds, and then, like if a computer were to stare at the clouds, this is what I think it would look like. Have any of you tried doing these sort of like ink painting type things? I don't even really know what to call this. Ink chromatography painting? Ink painting? I'm not really sure. Ink art. Yeah, this is getting thick. And this way. Everything is backwards. This is going to be kind of wonky. Pelican, Brilliant Black. I'm really surprised that last month I didn't get more blacks when I picked. Because I have a couple. You murdered everything? Well, listen, you need to show us, because art is subjective, right? We might think it's awesome. Most of what I do, I don't like how it turns out. But I guess that's part of the process, you know? Sort of like trusting your eye and just doing more of it. Plus it's fun to be inky. Make a mess. When I started doing ink splatters in addition to some bleach splatters this month. And let me tell you what, my desk turned into a hot mess. So the board that I was doing it on, you know, quite messy from ink splatter, and then the desk was just like worse. It was so bad. It was fun though. Making messes is fun. Haven't tried a blank canvas, but been outlining stamped flowers with fountain pen ink and then filling out the space using a water brush. Yeah, that's fun too. I can see it. I've not tried doing that. Maybe I will. That might be good if you have like a coloring book that has some decent paper. I think Pickwick might have, Miss Turtle might have some suggestions on good coloring books that have good paper in them. I feel like it was her. I think she has a video on using like watercolors in coloring books. So that might be a video worth checking out. Okay, Esterbrook Evergreen. I could hold on to it. This reminds me of radar. It wasn't, so when I did it, I had no intention of like I didn't think, oh, I'm going to make something that's going to look like radar. I'm just like, let's just do some circles, and then looking back at it, it's just like, that kind of looks like whatever. I feel like that's my life. And not yet. Still got to finish this one. You know, you just do something with no intention of how it's going to turn out, and then it reminds you of something. Just wing it. Ackerman, Delft Blau. This also has sort of like a boring chromatography to it, but this blue is so pretty. Using inks to prepare graphs as a project. So, are you like doing the graphs in an ink? Is that what you mean by that? Ow. Don't stab yourself with a needle. So somebody's gonna bomb, they're gonna bomb that island. Oh, maybe it's that, what's that island? Is it in the Caribbean that had all of like the nuclear testing on it? Like the shoot, what was that island called? The US did a bunch of test bombings on it. Oh, package drop. Oh, for Santa, right? That's Santa targeting the islands for gifts. Yes, bikini. That's what it is. I watched a couple of, I don't know, maybe it was two or maybe it was the same documentary I watched twice. There are documentaries on that island. It's just really fascinating. Colors make everything better, Dash. Soft mint. It's a really nice color. Not too exciting, doesn't sheen or anything. At least I've not gotten it to sheen. I usually keep it in Kaweco, the mint colored Kaweco. Just a happy color. Are you guys doing the Inkvent calendar? Anybody doing Inkvent? So far so good. I like all the inks that are in it right now. I mean, I'm sure there's bound to be some that I don't like, but of the ones that I've done videos for, I really like everything that's in there so far. Laban Poseidon Green. This one was, I don't know what happened in this one. They always come from the wrong side. Ooh, we're getting there, guys. We're getting there. Almost, almost, almost. And then you can see me struggle with putting the front cover on. Should be fun. Then after this, I'm going to go outside and I'm going to blow the leaves to the curb. Just swabs. That's fine too. I have, I participated this year in a Secret Santa ink vent, and I still haven't swabbed those. But there are only 12 of them, so I am probably going to start mid-month, sometime mid-month. But yeah, I haven't decided how I wanted to do those either. Inkvet I had planned a couple of months ago. Whenever like the calendar was announced, I sort of like knew what I wanted to do with that. By the way, y'all, I love this ink so much. It is so pretty. And it still smells like vanilla. I know that might bother some people, but I really like it. Esterbrook Aqua. For art, I'm not overly enamored with the Esterbrook inks. They're nice inks, but for this sort of thing, you really want like exciting chromatography. Probably should have made a playlist for like background music for y'all. Give you something to listen to besides me. Day 3, Birmingham. I really liked how this one came out too. And I was just like, ooh, I could sneak a landscape in there, and so I did. Okay, so for next time I know I don't need so much string. Obviously, I can get by with less. Did you guys have a favorite one of these this year? Or this month, rather? And tell me why it's the Birmingham. Tell me why it's this one. Which one was your favorite and why was it that one? This is another one I put into tracing paper because the sheen is so intense. This is Vinta Sandugo. I'm probably saying that wrong. And it's a beautiful color, but I have the worst time with it in a pen because it just loves to smear. Maybe in a drier paper it would be okay, but I had a hard time with it. How to recover if you run out of string. You tie a knot and then you just sort of like start a new string. It's not a big deal. Though I feel like today, if that had happened to me, I would have struggled with it. Because that's the type of day I'm having. But look, y'all, I've not yet sewn in another needles string into... So that's a win, right? Small victories. At some point, I'm probably going to come back in with a bleach brush and sort of like clean up some of the smudginess, especially on the back side of this page. Look, I got a fingerprint here that I need to clean up. I will say that doing it this way with each day being unbound on its like own little page made it very easy to scan images in. So, did I not? Yeah, I told you, you gotta warn me. I didn't tie this one around. There we go. So yeah, it was easier to scan the images after I did them, which makes it... Wow, this is thick. Yeah, this is thick. Where's the other one? This is the last... Where am I at? This is the last 30 inks. It's a little bit thicker than last month. Oops. But it did make it easier to paint. It made it easier to scan in. We're on the last day. Yay. Robert Oster Franklin 5th. My little square of ocean. Right. We have too much thread here. Ta-da! Okay. Now to put the cover on. Done. Just kidding. Just kidding. making knots. Good. Yeah, it's probably almost worth it not to have such a long string, so you don't have to deal with like knots, and then just resign yourself to just having to like tie in more string later when you run out. But I didn't do it that way. Okay, I have notes somewhere. One second. I wrote down some notes to remind myself. Okay. So, throw in the needle. I'm just going to tie a knot here. Cut it off. These scissors are awful. And then just sort of like tuck the little piece under. There. One done. Through. Just sort of grab another loop here. Just make a knot. Cut it off. You can't see anything. Okay. I'm tucking in it on whatever side that it just sort of like naturally lays on. And then this one. I'm just going to go in here. Uh-oh. And there you have it. So this is how it turned out. Where are you? There you are. This is how it turned out. It's very thick on that side and kind of thin on this side. Interesting in comparison. Have you ever had a book start to unravel? What do you mean by that? Have I ever started one and then I had to undo it? I've done that with signatures. But yeah, so here it is. You can open it. The pages are pretty flat. So here's a page with tracing paper. And just sort of lift it up to see. Oh, no, I've not. Maybe eventually. But then again, besides last month's book, last 30 Inks month's book, like this one, I was using every single day, opening and closing, and since then I've not really bothered. But none of my books really get a lot of use. So, and I'm not a prolific bookbinder at all. But I've been very fortunate that nothing has come undone. I think if you're looking at these, where are you at? There you are. If you're looking at these two types of books, this one definitely has an advantage in that it's pretty flat and it opens mostly flat. You do have some pull on the pages. I think this is like a really nice binding technique if you prefer like something very consistent. But this one worked really well for the execution of each day. I sort of wish that it wasn't so thick on this one end, but I like how it came out. And that each page sort of is its own entity, right? It's not attached to anything else unless it has some tracing paper included. But yeah, so you can see how the previous day sort of like smudged onto this one. But anyway, so that's it. I wanted to thank you guys for joining me. If you have any like last minute questions, let me know. Happy to answer questions. Oh, I did want to say, if you're doing anything with bleach water, and I'm not sure that I've mentioned this in the last recap when I had a chance to speak with you all, but if you're doing anything with bleach water, please make sure that your brushes are synthetic bristle brushes, because the bleach will eat away at natural hair brushes, which, you know, natural hair brushes can be really expensive, and I wouldn't want you to ruin any of your really nice brushes with bleach water. So if you do try doing bleach water, just make sure that your bristles are synthetic. Is there anything else that I needed to tell you? Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. I appreciate all of you guys' support. It's really heartwarming to do a thing and then come on and be validated by like all of your kind comments, and you guys hanging out with me today. I appreciate your time. You didn't have to be here, but it's really lovely that you were, and I am so happy that we could have shared this time together. And thank you all. Have a great day, and I'll see you. Well, you'll see me tomorrow. There'll be another video tomorrow, and for the next, what is tomorrow? 21 days. And Ink Flight's coming soon, so there'll be that video as well. And I have 2 others. No, you didn't quite miss it. It'll be on online. You can watch it just not live. You have a great evening too, and I forgot where I was, but anyway, there are plenty of videos coming out the rest of the month. You can always send me a message if you have any questions. I love to hear from you guys. Have a great day, enjoy your weekend, and happy holidays. Time to sleep. Go.